All right, so first this is our first guest podcast, and my first guest is my stepdad actually, and he used to be a cop, various other security jobs, right? Then she used to work at Statesville.
Joliet prison.
Okay, this is the difference. What's the
There's
difference?
two different.
Oh, I didn't even know.
Real close together, but they're right there together.
Okay, cool. So I just had a lot of, I always had a lot of questions growing up, about like your jobs and stuff, and cause you were a cop. So and where was it?
I was a cop in Kankakee,
Uh-huh.
Fort Heights.
Fort Heights is the more
Yeah, a little bit of action up there.
Crazy.
Moni and.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know Monique.
Yeah, and then
Learned some stuff.
retired from Robbins as a sergeant.
I remember that one. I remember Robbins. That was the last last job. That's
Yep.
How many years total were you a police officer?
16.
Wow.
Actually, yeah.
feels
16.
like longer.
16?
Yeah.
Feels like longer.
Well, when you add in the correctional officer stuff, it's
Uh-huh.
pushing 25, 26.
Okay.
Were
yeah,
we,
because I was just say that sounds more like it.
You were a CO in Joliet?
I started out in Joliet. I quit there, became a Kankakee City cop, and then moved around a little bit. And now I'm back with Department of Corrections. I'm a CO.
Oh, okay.
I'm a CO down in Pontiac.
See, I didn't
Oh,
even know
okay.
that. I didn't even know that.
You gotta stay in touch. You know,
Yeah, we don't live too far away.
yeah, we're blocks away from each
Yeah,
other.
not
Just don't
not
know.
even.
man.
But
Gotta send a text message.
So yeah, the questions that always got to me, and the first one I think of is like, at any point, like I know you felt fear for your life at some point. You had to have.
I mean,
There had to have been some point.
there's been things that would probably bother a lot of other people.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I don't know. I just came with it.
Came with the
flow.
job.
It's just like it didn't really, I mean, there were some hairy situations where something bad could have happened. And It worked out for the better, and I'm still here.
So like a question is, how well did they train you for things like that, like those situations during police academy? And how long is police academy?
Well, the minimum for the state of Illinois is 13 weeks.
Okay, so how long were you?
That was 13 weeks.
Okay.
State police go to the academy for 6 months. Depending upon your department, will depend upon your training after you get out of the academy.
Right.
So
they
I mean,
continue to train you.
If you with a department that's got a bigger budget, more budget for training, you're gonna get better training and more often. If you're at a municipality that doesn't have the funding, they can't afford to train you, and that's where a lot of the problems come in. Is from lack of training, and training is a broad spectrum. It's anything from updates on the laws to personal defense
Right.
and what I mean. It's
Like situations.
anything and everything. Yeah.
So like, did you ever feel like maybe it should be longer? Is there things that they didn't prep you for that
I mean,
you ran into that were obviously there has to.
I mean, you can't prep for everything.
Nah, I guess
a lot,
not.
A lot of that stuff. I mean, as long as you know the laws and what they all entail, you can better do your job. I mean, circumstances change everything when it comes to that stuff. So,
Yeah.
I mean, there's no two things alike. So they can't just prepare you for anything and everything. You just
Right.
got to deal with it as it comes, be able to process it, handle it, do what you got to do. And the more knowledge you have, the easier that will be. And,
Right.
the better
Right.
job that you'll do.
Well, it's just because all the stuff that's been happening lately, in the news and shit.
I picked a good time to get out.
Yeah. Because honestly, I was gonna say up there it was probably bad during all the riots and whatnot. But do you have any comments on that? Like what all them people. Like, have you ever been around anything like that you thought was not right? That you know what I mean? Like, have you ever seen anything that you was like, yo, like you shouldn't be doing that, like to another cop maybe, or like abuse?
Actually, yeah.
of
I mean, cops are people too.
Yeah.
We all fuck up. We all screw up. I mean, it's not, like, oh my God. Now the severity of it will depend. I mean, sometimes, I haven't seen nothing bad, but like,
Right.
like after the call or something, hey man, you could have done this a little bit different or that a little bit different,
spoke a
or you
little
were
bit.
wrong. You should have said this instead of that and whatever. And they've done it to me too, because like, we're all human and
Right.
whatnot. But if I saw something like that was really out of place, or yeah, you got to step in and stop something. Absolutely. But I mean, as far as like debriefing after the call, I mean, you'd be like, hey, something could have handled that a little bit differently. I mean, during the call, you're not going to say, "Hey, stop." Okay, no,
Right.
you know, you don't want to like step on toes and whatnot. You know, depending upon what it is. I mean, if it's something petty, like, hey, maybe next time, you know, that
Right.
that happens, and we can do this instead because that you know that make me feel right. Even though now, if it was something like wrong, absolutely step in and be like, no, wait a second, you know,
Right,
that's
right.
fucked up, man. Stop. You know,
Yeah.
You never had to do nothing like that, thankfully, though. Yeah, you never had to tell nobody like, "Yo,
no, because I mean, like I said,
yeah, you worked with."
for the most part, most cops got it in their heart, be good people, and they do what they're supposed to do. I mean, like I said, some of them fuck up a little bit here and there, but for the most part, I mean, just a few bad apples give the cops, you know, the rest of the cops bad names. Everybody hates the police, and you know, they're getting what they're seeing, what the media and whatnot wants them to see.
Yeah,
You know, and they don't show cops as a whole. It just shows that, you know, one cop here, one cop there, and they just blow things out of proportion.
See-
I mean, as far as I don't want to say out of proportion because I mean the whole thing with old boy dying and all that kind of stuff, that's not blown out of proportion. But at the
Right,
same
right.
time, you know, they focus on the bad cops, and that's
Right.
I mean, there's so many good cops out there, and they just need to do better screening, better psychological tests, and all that kind of stuff when it comes to that
Do
kind
you
of stuff.
do you think maybe the country's demand for entertainment, you know what I mean,
yeah.
over the years, do you think that has a lot to do with that? Because I feel like when you kind of peel back the layers of everything, I mean, as far as what happens in the country happens, you know what I mean? There's no
Yeah.
secret, but it's been happening. It's been happening.
I mean, as far as like a
You know
demand
what
for
I mean?
entertainment,
So-
I wouldn't.
I mean, you know what I mean, though. Like
You
when
know-
media is like, I'm not saying like, I'm not trying to say like, there's this evil plot twist to, you know, start whatever comes out. I'm just saying like, it's like media is like always. I feel like media has this like, this habit of, like you said, like, you know, it's what they want to what
yeah.
they want to show
Yes,
people is,
the
you know,
media-
what they feel is the most entertaining. I feel.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
The media does have their agenda,
Yeah.
and they will work their way. They will try to persuade you to go with their agenda, whether it be right, if they got to change stuff and do whatever else. I mean, you can see it every day. Like
Right,
they're
right.
they're so biased in what they do, and a lot of that's, you know, for their own political agendas, and some of it's for like rating driven, because better
Yeah.
ratings,
No, obviously.
the more money they get, and like, you know, good guy doing this, good guy doing that, they don't get ratings.
Yeah.
No.
This guy did that, some bad shit. Oh, that gets ratings because people they want to see that stuff. So
Right.
they're going to blow that out of proportion and push that as much as they can. And that,
Right.
you know, it's kind of like being a cop. You see everybody when they're at their worst, like
Right.
their absolute worst.
Yeah,
Right.
definitely.
They're not calling you because, hey, it's a great day, man. We're having a, you know, barbecue out back, whatever else. No,
Right.
I mean, you're fighting through a lady. You know,
Yeah.
your house has got broken into. You're a victim of a burglary. You're a victim of this.
Right.
You know, somebody's.
Or you're catching
you know,
somebody doing something.
Yeah,
man.
and you never encounter people when they're having a good day. You know, and then if they are having a good day and you pull them over for speeding or something, well, you just fuck their day up. You know,
Right,
so
right.
Definitely.
now they're not having a good day. So you come across people usually at their worst.
Right.
And, you know, so you don't get to see all the good stuff. We see all the bad stuff. And
Right.
that's what the media likes. They want to see bad stuff, so it exploits it. And they don't want to pay attention to any of the good stuff. And,
Right.
you know,
No, absolutely.
So-
yeah, I agree. 100%.
Did you ever want to like go into the military and say? Because I feel like, man, if you wanna do something that's gonna put you in, I feel like you have to be a little bit of an adrenaline junkie. Obviously, the motorcycles, you know. Man, this guy.
I might have a little bit of adrenaline junkie in me.
So, so like, what were some of the things that you liked, like then? Like, you know, obviously, I remember you did some raids before. Like, when you do something like that, what kind of like preparation do you do? Like, right when it's about to happen, right when you're pulling up at this, like a block away from this place you're about to.
As far as the raids, well,
Yeah.
let's backtrack to the military question real
Okay.
quick. You said something.
Yeah, definitely.
I actually signed up for be an airborne ranger. Me and my buddy Scott, and
Yeah, I remember Scott.
let's see here. You were already born, and we were. Then your mom ended up pregnant. You know,
Yeah, you guys
with your
had
brother.
like
So
18 or 19.
and then
you know?
being pregnant and like military, I backed out of it and I went into the law enforcement thing and whatnot. And my buddy Scott went on in because we've been going on
Oh,
the
he
buddy
went
system.
anyway, huh?
Yeah, he went in anyway, and or else, I mean, things would be so much different if I would have went that route because
Definitely.
I mean,
maybe wouldn't have gotten out. What was exactly what you guys signed up for? You said the Air Force?
Airborne Ranger.
Airborne Rangers.
Yeah.
So
US
what is
Army.
that? Oh, okay. I was gonna
Yeah.
say I wasn't
Jump out of planes and do
Right.
crazy shit, you know.
right.
So,
Basically front lines kind of shit.
yeah. So it's yep. But no, got married instead. You know,
Right. Life happened.
life happened fast.
Definitely.
I mean,
How
yeah,
many
I mean,
more
brothers
kids
and
now?
sisters. 7 of you guys.
Man. I'm getting there, but
So the raids and whatnot, you know, raids.
Like-
I mean, yeah, we get there, we get a game plan going. Like you know, you get it. You can only do that kind of stuff with people that you trust. You can't
Right.
do it with people that you don't trust. I mean,
yeah, obviously you could get shot.
well,
Somebody
yeah,
could shoot one of your guys.
exactly. I
you know?
mean, it's a close knit thing. I mean, we talk about it before we go in. We do a briefing prior, like, okay, this is what you're doing. This is what you're doing. This is what you're doing. You know, and this is our agenda. You know, should only be a couple people in there. If there's a lot of people, all that just plays into the factors. And
Right.
you know, we just talk about it. Then we go do it. And if something changes, then we know like what our responsibilities are when something changes. Like, okay, well, this happens. Okay, this guy's gonna take care of that. I don't have to worry about him. You know,
Right.
because he's going to do his stuff, and that's part of the whole trust thing.
Can I ask you a question? Like, as far as like you said with like the energy, like with raids and stuff like that, like how you prepare for it. Now, like, kind of like backtracking just a little bit here, like as far as like like I guess everything's situational. You know what I mean? So, my question really is like, how much do you considering the preparation like for raids? Like, I'm pretty sure it's high energy. You obviously probably got to even prepare yourself mentally, just kind of like keep your focus. Like, hey man, like no matter what, like don't get in there and what I mean. Obviously, got to prepare for the worst. You know what I mean? But I'm sure you're to a degree already like preparing yourself emotionally. You know what I mean for like things like you know what I'm saying. So my question is like situationally like around the country and like I guess like what the media does expose like the you know what I mean like those bad apples in the police department. Do you think I mean like I mean I know like I don't know I mean I know there's always other motives and maybe some that come to light and some that don't. Maybe there's some that are like accusational, you know what I mean, or I don't know. That's not really my question, but do you ever think that maybe like that energy in the moment because of just, I don't know, everything maybe a police officer may experience, even if he doesn't see it out there on the field, but what people show like on social media every day, I mean, just the altercations between civilians and police officers, like how do you think that kind of betrayal in society has an effect on the police officers and the kind of mental condition, the mental like not condition, but just the way just their mentality in general, like approaching into like high tense situations, like because like sometimes like if I've been stopped by a cop, like depending on the area, you can tell when a cop. Not that they're tense, but you can tell when they're, you could just tell if they're very cautious.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You could feel it. You can feel that, like, hey, this man's being very cautious. I need to be very cautious. Not that you're aware, like, afraid of violence or anything, but it's kind of like you're reading the moment, So I just, like, my question is, like, how do you think maybe just some men or women in the police force just get caught up in that tension emotionally and mentally in the moment, and when things do start to, I guess, escalate, you know what I mean? Or like someone gets rowdy, because you know how people, like you said, you catch people at the worst. I ain't gonna lie. I've mouthed off to the police officer before just out of a bad mood. You know what I mean? It wasn't his fault. You know what I mean? But then, but like, you know what I'm saying? But then given the tension that's already surrounding everything going on, you know what I mean? Like, how much chaos do you think that actually is causing? Like, between the altercations, because I'm not going to say it. There's always two sides, man. You know what I mean? Whether somebody gets tense first and then it's up to the other person to maintain or de-escalate the situation, I guess. But like, I want to like ask you, because I know you've been in situations with people, or you pulled people over.
I feel like
but
it's
like,
always been fuck the cops. Everybody always says that.
I know,
you know what I mean?
but still though, man. But it's fuck the cops until somebody gets killed or somebody gets shot, or until you have to call the cops, man. You know what I'm saying?
Fuck the police until you need the police.
Right, you know what I'm saying? So, and that's what I'm saying though. But I'm saying like, if that's the general consensus against police officers, like how much is it just the tension between on both ends? Is it like causing that maybe not what happened to George Floyd or whatever, not to mention his name to get us kicked off YouTube or whatever, but I don't think that's gonna happen. We're not monetized. I think we're not monetized, so we're good. But you know, not just with him, because he's not the only situation. You know what I mean? There's been other situations with just people in general, right? Whether it was with black men, Latino men, or I'm pretty sure they fucking Caucasian motherfuckers. They're some of the most mouthy motherfuckers ever too. You know, they can spark some shit off and get some shit kicked off. You know what I mean? I don't think anybody's above it. You know, that's what I'm saying. So I'm starting to get to the conclusion that how much is the fucking circumstances of everything in the moment just right there playing into it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Like, I want to just, I guess, get your opinion on it, you know?
Well, as far as like the morale of officers, I mean, the constant, you know, degrading and the constant, you know, hatred towards them and whatnot, that wears them down, obviously.
Definitely.
I mean, it's not, you know, I mean, at first, like, yes, it's no big deal, whatever, just blow it, it's just a jackass, whatever.
Right.
But, I mean, the more it happens, the more, it's, you know, it's going to erode that, you know, down a little bit each and every time, you know, and pretty soon it's a lot of weight to carry. And everybody, you know, and you got to be cautious of everybody, because there's so many people that hate the police out there. Like, everybody that you encounter, you have to maintain your personal safety, because at the end of the day, you got to go home to your family. You got to go home. You know, you're human. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not just a cop. I mean, you're a person with feelings and everything else.
Right.
You know, and at the end of the shift, you want to be able to go home, and you can't trust everybody on the street, because you don't know everybody that you encounter. You don't know them. You don't know. I mean, you know what they're capable of, because they can, you know, turn around and kill you in the blink of an eye. So you always got to keep your guard up. You know, because you don't know that moment that you let it down is a moment you don't go home to your family and, you know, and your kids and everything else. That's when you know your wife's getting a flag or something, or you're going in a fucking box or a body bag.
Real shit. Yeah. Hey, you know what, man? Don't that sound real familiar by what an everyday motherfucker in the ghetto got to go through? Yeah. Real shit, son. You know what I mean? That's why I'm confused. That's why I get a little. That's why I get a little confused. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's just like, how do you start, like, when something happens, and it's not just one thing. I'm talking not just the one situation. It's been happening. But, like, on one end is like, when do you start generalizing every fucking police officer, knowing damn well that half the police force came from the same neighborhood, you know, I mean, not all the time, obviously, but, you know, a lot of the times they come from the same neighborhoods, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. And I get, like I say, man, like, I don't know, I get that there's some fucked up people out there, they fuck up and they do something fucked up, or, you know what I mean, or they get caught in the heat of the moment, they're not listening, or they're, you know what I mean, they're being overly cautious to the point where they're not being concerned about everyone's condition, you know what I mean, and shit like that. But it's just like, what I think is just like, I don't know, man. It's just like, when I hear you talk about it, man, like, you know what I mean? Like, you just...
Yeah, because...
You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you... It's just like, if you take away a uniform, bro, you take away a uniform, it's just like, dude, you're just talking to people.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand sometimes.
That's
man.
a
Like,
real important reason why I wanted to have you on it. But also because, like, these guest podcasts that we're going to start doing, because we have a normal podcast with just us four, me and our guys. So I just want to have some interesting people on. And, you know, and I feel like definitely you've been through a lot of interesting stuff. So I was just curious, the Save-A-Lot situation in general, like, what happened exactly?
When I got shot?
Yeah.
My own gun? All right. Got to bring that up. Okay.
No, but you know, because it plays into, or it shows like another side, because like, you know what I mean? Well, I'll just let you hear, because I haven't, you know.
Yeah, 100.
Like, what happened, but definitely like something, it shows like that, like you just said, you have to be cautious constantly, because, you know, obviously, like you just said, one day you might not come home, you know? And like, also, I was just curious, you know, what did happen, because I never really got the full everything.
You never get the full story of that?
No, ever.
Yeah,
I just know that you got shot and that was it.
You were kind of young when that happened, so I mean, I didn't really tell. I mean, obviously, I told Aaron about it and whatnot.
Yeah,
and
I think we were maybe like 14 or 15.
Yeah,
something like that.
You know, I wouldn't bother you kids about that kind of stuff.
Right,
so I was just like, yeah, you know, whatever. But what happened with that was, I mean, you know, I was doing contract security for Save-A-Lot, you know, and they called me up, and my boss, you know, the guy I had the contract with, was like, hey, we're having a problem with this store. We have some shoplifting stuff, and sent me over there. I'm like, all right, it's a decent neighborhood. It's over by Midway Airport, you know. And, you know, this lady comes in, she starts stealing. She stole like 3 cases of freaking Kit Kats or something.
Oh,
right?
wow.
Jeez.
I mean, they were coming there robbing that store blind, you know.
Right.
So
yeah.
I snag her up, you know, and I pull off this, you know, cuff her and detain her and whatnot. And it took Chicago PD an hour and a half to get there.
Damn.
Oh,
An
man.
hour and a half.
Oh,
right?
man.
I'm I can't leave her. I'm sitting
Right.
in the break room with this broad, and I'm just sitting there, waiting for her to show up. I'm like, God, CPD's now they're what the fuck they doing,
Right.
So anyway, they come, lock her up and whatever, and about an hour later, maybe 2 hours later, whatever, this guy and this lady, they come in, and one of the customers says, "Hey, that guy's stealing stuff in that aisle over there." I go over and I look, and sure as shit, he's shoving like Febreze, like the
Febreze.
big aerosol cans of Febreze into his coat. I'm like, okay.
What
So
the hell?
he's comes walking towards the front door. I'm like, I stop him. I'm like, hey, because it's like $60. I'm not worried about
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I say, hey man, what you got? He goes, I ain't got nothing. I'm like, don't bullshit me, man. I know you I saw you stealing shit. What do you got? He goes, I ain't got nothing. At that point, I knew that I had to go hands on with him, lock him up. I go grab his wrist, and the fight was on.
Yeah.
We start fighting. We're tumbling around. We actually knock over like an apple juice display and whatnot. We're right by the front door. People are literally walking in as we're on the ground, tussling, walking around us, and the manager's on the phone calling 911 and whatnot, and we're going at it. I don't know if you guys have been to like a fight, but anything more than a minute and a half is a long time.
Yeah.
I think we were fighting for like
Winded.
almost three minutes.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I was winded. He was winded. Anyway, at some point we get back to our feet and we're still tied up and whatnot. And he was fighting me hard. There's no doubt about it. And
Yeah.
plus, I'm a little fat and out of shape too. So I'm giving it all I got.
Right.
And so anyway, he he steps on that rubber pad and the door opens up, and he gets in that little foyer area and I got him, and he reaches into his coat and he goes, I got a knife. I'm going to stab you. I'm like, all right, bet. I pull out my pistol. I pipe him. I'm like, pull your fucking hand, or hold on, what did I say? Let me see your fucking hands. He pulls his hand out, nothing in it, and I reholster my gun. Now we're tussling, so I don't snap it shut.
Right.
And I drag him back in. And I slam him up against the ice chest, like the 22-pound bag of ice, right there by the front door, and we're both tired. He's breathing hard. He's like resting. I'm resting. And actually, I'm bladed to him to where my weapon side is away from him.
Right.
And I got my left shoulder like in his torso area. And he had a height on me. He's like, I don't know, I'm gonna say he's like 6'2". I'm only 5'7".
Okay. Yeah.
And he was like 6'2" and whatnot. He's actually in pretty good shape because he just got out of prison.
He just got out.
yeah, finally got out.
That's
Yeah.
why he didn't want to go, because I'm gonna lock him up
Yeah.
from this retail theft. He's going back to prison.
Yeah.
I'm gonna violate his parole and all that. And so,
Right.
Anyway, so I'm leaning against him. Got him pinned against the ice chest, and then the way I was, he just kind of reached down my back and he grabbed my gun, and I felt it slide up my back. I'm like,
Oh shit.
This just got real. Even though it hasn't been real for the past 3 minutes.
Right. No,
But
yeah. Yeah.
anyway,
100%.
I chase his arm up and I pull his arm down in between us, and the gun goes off. Now I had no control of the gun at all, other than my hand was like on his hand around it and whatnot, but my finger was on the trigger.
Yeah.
The only way a Glock's gonna go off is if you pull the trigger.
Right.
He had physical control of the gun. I was fighting for control. Gun goes off. We separate it. He runs out the door. I run out the door right after him. The only time I didn't carry a second gun with me. Okay? And the lady that he was with, she had enough time to go out in the parking lot. She pulled the car up. She's waiting for him. She doesn't know what the hell's going on inside. She's if I'm locking him up or what's going on.
Right.
He comes running out. He goes to get in the car. I'm right behind him. He gets by next to the door. He turns around, points the gun at me, and I see him. He's trying to shoot me. He's making that motion, but it ain't going off. And I'm looking dead down my barrel. Then the gun don't shoot. He jumps in the car. They take off. As they pull out of the parking lot, CPD's pulling it into the lot. Thank God, because that 3 minutes. If it was like a couple hours earlier, and I had to wait for an hour and a half for it.
Right,
You know what I'm saying? It was like it's like a godsend,
Yeah.
And first car pulls. I'm like, yeah, it's that. It was an Oldsmobile Delta 88 is what he got into. An old piece of crap. But anyway, they ended up getting into a chase with them, whatnot. I don't know if she wrecked or she stopped or whatever. He bailed out of the car. They got a little foot chase, and when they got him, he had 20 cans of Febreze on him.
Jesus. He had your gun still?
And the thing with the Febreze is that people will steal things like that in that quantity because they'll go down to like the local corner store, you know,
Right.
and
So-
they'll resell it for $1 a can. When they get you around sell for $3 or $4 a can, you know.
Right.
And they'll sell for $1 a can. These guys $20 for his dope. So,
No,
but
you're
anyway,
Yeah.
my gun was they found my gun on the floorboard of the car. It was stovepiped, meaning it was jammed. The brass casing was there, and it jammed. Because it didn't cycle. Because when we had it in between us, it didn't have that room to to fully eject around and cause it to malfunction. And which, my case, saved my life.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, most cops that get disarmed do not live to tell about it.
Right.
And I was one of the lucky ones.
So when the gun went off, it just like grazed your arm.
Yeah, it got me in the right arm.
Because I just remember seeing your arm bandaged up. That was about it. But yeah, so it just grazed it, huh? Just barely.
It took a chunk out.
Oh, see, I never knew like the full story of like him pointing it right at you and stuff. I didn't know nothing like that. I didn't know the gun jammed. I just knew that. I figured maybe you just like got him right after or something. I kind of made up the story in my head, I try to figure it out.
He's telling all his friends.
But I mean, in a way, it's a blessing for him too, because if I had my other gun on me, I'd have plugged him in the parking lot.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Because definitely that was assault on. Like almost deadly, almost murder.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
I didn't know that my gun was jammed, and he's trying to shoot me with it, and I'd have shot him in the parking lot because
Yeah.
Definitely.
Just
That's
the
crazy.
Lord was looking out for me that night as well as him.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
So-
and like you just said, so how long did he get? Like what? Had he got 8 or 10 years?
I think he got 12 or 13 years out of that deal.
I hope
So
he
he'd
changed his
be out
life
by
around,
now, huh?
honestly,
He should be out, but I do believe he's out.
Okay.
If he's not out, I want to say, when was that?
Well, just imagine,
Like
man.
2006?
Yeah.
See,
You said
it had to have been a 6 or 7, and that was,
Yeah, I
man,
wanna
I'm
say
telling you, that was a
2006 or
long
7,
time
yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
I was
Hey, man, if
younger
he would
than I
have shot
thought.
you,
He'd have been in jail for
he
life.
probably would have died if he would have had that gun with the other police too. Shit, man.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. You shoot.
Glad that I don't
I
gotta
just
know.
feel like
but-
when the guns are out, man. The cops gotta look out for themselves at that point too.
So I got another question. What do you think about the legalization of marijuana? I mean, what did you ever think about weed? Because I just knew, I'm your son, so I just knew that, hey, don't smoke weed. But
I am not a fan. Well, I mean, as far as the legalization of it, it's whatever. They don't bother me.
did it ever get like old having to like bust people for it, or would you just like send them on their way?
Depending upon
sometimes?
as far as busting people for it, like if I stop somebody, I smell a little bit of weed, and all they got's like a little dime bag or something. I make them dump it out. I wouldn't dump it out. I'd make them do it because
Right.
that's how you get caught up in the trick bag. Oh, that cop took my stuff. Like, no, I made you dump your stuff out and send you on
Okay,
your
I
way.
get
Right,
That kind of thing.
right.
I mean, like, I did like little stuff like that. Now, if you had a mass quantity or dealing it, whatever, that's a different story. But if you're just got a little bit of personal use, I'd make you get rid of it. I wouldn't like, oh, I'm gonna take you down for this.
Right.
Oh, you got a hitter box on you. You're going to jail for this. I'm like,
See, 'cause
yeah, it's just
I don't,
it was petty shit.
I don't get a
So-
chance to talk to much cops, but I feel like Henry told me. Henry had told me one time that he thinks it just should be legal because he's tired of dealing with it and it doesn't really know. So I was just curious what you thought because I don't know. I never knew what you thought about weed. Honestly, just not to because I'm your son. He's like, hey, don't smoke weed, but I was just curious because it's legal now.
I'm smoking now.
But yeah, no, I was just like curious about the correctional officer. Like right now, is it any different than when it was when you used to do it? Because when you used to do it, somebody told me you would like go into cells when people didn't want to do something or were like disobeying. I think Ron would tell me like you'd go in there if somebody didn't want to shower, things like that.
People don't want to shower. They don't want to shower. They're going to make you shower.
They don't make you shower.
No.
Okay,
You
well,
watch too many movies.
I
man.
mean,
I mean-
as far as like DOC then
yeah.
and DOC now, night and day difference. I mean, back then you have to worry about this and that. And now it's all geared towards mental health. It's
Okay.
they got like back before I left DOC, they didn't have this thing called PREA. Now they got this thing called PREA, which is the Prison Rape Elimination Act, where like they're which is a good thing,
Right.
But I mean, like before, like when I was being a correctional officer back in the 90s, like, man, we got to, to run showers, take 20 guys out, in the cells and burn them all through the shower. They all showered together at one time, pull them out, or if we had to strip search a whole line of guys before they went on a transfer bus. We just did them all at once. Now it's their privacy is, priority for all that. They got to respect their privacy, which is good because, you throw 20 guys in the shower. That's where the stories come from. We drop the soap, this, that, and the other. Now it's all private. They get their own shower by themselves, and
that's kind of cool.
And so that's like one of the big issues with the whole
jail don't want to
PREA thing and whatnot. And plus, as far as like if they have a problem with their celly, that kind of stuff. That's all.
That's cool. I didn't know that
all that stuff, and we keep like certain ones separate from these other ones because of like the predators or something like that, and all that kind of. So that's all part of that whole PREA thing, and
just making everybody safe.
And the backlash from that is like if the inmate don't like you, they'll put a PREA claim on you. Said, oh, he said this to me, like he did this to me. He watched me get dressed, kind of thing, for no reason. And just, it's just whatever. It's
they'll try anything.
It just comes with it, Yeah. So it's you get a lot of stuff like that. But,
I was more curious.
But it's a good thing as far as that goes. And the mental health thing, that's all. The past couple of years, that's been moving forward pretty rapidly. There's been a lot of changes with that.
They need to,
and
a lot of, especially with like.
There's definitely people in the prison system that do need mental health, and there's some that are playing the system for what it is and trying to get the most that they can get out of it. So you got to weed that out and look at that, but you still got to give everybody that opportunity, and everybody got to give everybody that right to the mental health and everything else. So
that's good, but I was more curious about the physical altercations. You know what I mean? Because I wanted to be a correctional officer at one point. I think you even told me like you should.
Yeah, because it's good money in it.
So I was thinking about it, and I was wondering what some shit I would be getting into if I were to do that. So like you obviously you can't be intimidated by people, because do they try that? Do they try you or?
No, an inmate's going to try everything he can to get one over on you. He's going to try to manipulate you. He's going to try to like get the most that he can because he don't have anything. So if he can get like whether it be like a pack of sunflower seeds or a pack of Kool-Aid from you or something, he's going to do whatever he can to talk to you and befriend you to get what he can get because he don't have nothing. And they're going to try to spin you and manipulate you and whatnot. You got to be aware of all that, but at the same time, you still got to be. They're people too, so you got to treat them appropriately and whatnot, and treat them with respect. You just can't go in there all hard ass and this, that, and the other. Like because you're going to meet a bunch of resistance with that, and you're going to be an asshole. Whatnot. There's a right way to do things and the wrong way to do things, and then there's your way of doing things. You can go by the book, and then but. Some things you got to make considerations for common sense, like you can when you talk to people, you can read them like, hey, okay, something more with this, something going on or whatever. Just because they're inmates, don't mean you got to treat them like piece of shit.
Definitely.
Because they're still people, and you get what you get in return. You got some guys that are just hard asses all the time. Which,
that's
and some
or
go
less.
above and beyond that, and then you got guys that don't do nothing and they're not doing what they're supposed to do. So. You just got to find that middle place, and do what you got to do. And as far as like working and whatnot, I never really had a problem getting assaulted from inmates. But I treat them like because they are men. I treat them like men. I won't take no shit from them. Like I'll check them if I have to. Like no, wait a second, dude. Or they try to do some slick shit. I'm like I'll call them out on. I'm like, ain't that dumb, man? Was it? I'm not a rookie. That kind of shit. And so
because I just remember. I got expelled one time because I had a knife at school. You remember? And you brought me to the jail, put me in one of them cells. I think I was like 8th grade. I remember. I just remember sitting in there for a little while, and I hear you yelling at one of the other guys that was in like a cell or two down. I just hear you yelling at him, like, you know what I mean? And maybe he's a drug addict or something. He wouldn't shut up.
I have no idea. I don't recall that, but it's possible. It's possible. I wouldn't put it past myself.
I'm sure he was a drug addict now I'm thinking about it because he was talking a lot and just like saying a bunch of weird stuff. But no, I was just curious about that kind of thing because Man, what the hell was I even talking about? It happens sometimes.
Yeah,
Marijuana legal.
Yeah.
I guess my last question, man, like with the little bit of time we got left, is okay, so like, you know, given everything we talked about the subject, so what would be like your message, like, because these people like protesting, everybody like calling for change, and everyone, you know what I mean, expressing themselves, like what would be your advice to these people if they want this change, if they want a better play, I guess what, you know, they would consider, you know, a better system of justice or a better just overall environment for the world, I guess, you know what I mean, or whatever it is that, you know, they're saying they want, you know what I mean, like what would be your advice to them, like on the steps they could do to like help bring this kind of change, like along with, you know, even the people like in the higher, you know, in positions to really, you know, make that change? What would be your advice to them?
Well, as far as change goes, I mean, you can demand change,
Right.
but if you're not bringing nothing to the table, like what could you change and how can you change
Right.
it without bringing any solutions to it? But
Right.
I just want it changed.
That's my question. Like, what would
I mean,
be
you
your
got to
advice,
be
you
able
know?
to, you know, bring something to the table. Like, okay, we change this. Well, you ain't gonna like it.
Right.
You know, I mean, there's got to be something like, you know, some kind of medium there. Like, okay, well, you can say this and this, but if without anybody bringing any real solutions to the table, change isn't going to happen. Right. But as far as change that's got to go, that needs to be done. I mean, is there flaws in the justice system? Absolutely.
Right.
You know, but for the most part, that's our foundation. You know,
Right.
I mean, you just can't just, you know, we disband the police department, cut the funding to them because
Right,
okay, so as soon as you cut funding to police departments, guess what? The first thing that they're taking away, training. I mean, because the man hours got to be there.
Yeah.
They got to have the shift coverage. The first thing that's getting cut is training and equipment.
And
Okay.
this seems to be, and it's just funny, and it's just funny because it just, I know, and it's funny, like I read earlier somewhere too, like someone said, like, you know, the same people who are calling to defund the police are the same people who were complaining about training.
Yeah.
Being an issue, you know, so that's what I'm saying is like, what advice, like, what can we tell the people, like, hey man, like we want things to be different, we want things to be better. Obviously you can't just depend on people to just start changing things because, you know what I mean, at you know, at your word, you know what I mean, or just out the sound of your voice, you know, obviously things have to work from the bottom up, you know what I mean? So I always felt like, you know, that doesn't really get expressed enough, like the people calling for change, but what can the people do to change themselves and everything going on?
I can answer that.
You get what I'm saying? That's my question.
The
like
people
what would
need
like,
to open their mind up because
you know what I'm saying?
they're just looking at cops like they're horrible people or something like he just said, and that's kind of why I wanted him on here so people could see, like, you know,
they're the people too, exactly.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Them included, everyone. You know, not just.
But I mean, like, they gotta understand
but,
everybody's a human being. Like, you know what I mean? Not everybody. There's people like that guy that was gonna shoot him. You know what I mean? Like that was a bad person, and if he was a cop, then he would have shot something. You know, he probably would have done something bogus. But I mean, like I feel like everybody just needs to understand that, you know, they're put in positions that they have to, you know, they have to do something about it. And some people fuck up. Like, you know what I mean? You just gotta understand that because, like, it's different when somebody deliberately kills somebody or, you know, or does something bogus, and like that's, you know, obviously, yes, do something. But what, honestly, like, I feel like they just have to. It's really hard because it's like chaotic. There's nothing you can do. Honestly, there's nothing that you can't force everybody to be good. You know what I mean? And cops and people alike.
Yeah, I guess the position I was more speaking from was like, you know, the people who end up in those positions, like the people who end up being police, and the people who end up being politicians, the people who end up being lawmakers or lobbyists or part of the government or whatever, you know what I mean? Just the people basically who are responsible for what I guess the change people are looking for, you know what I mean? So it's just those people end up in those positions. So it's just like my question is like, where do we start the change?
That's a good one.
That's the whole thing. I was going to get into that because when it comes to change, okay, so if we want to revamp or abolish or defund, whatever you want to do to police departments or whatever it is as far as the change goes, all right, there are laws and due processes in place that have to be in place. And the police and the justice system, they all keep those in line.
Right.
You know, you just can't like, okay, let's disband the police department. Okay, well now all these laws and stuff that won't get enforced, and if you like, okay, wipe out the training and get, let's get whatever they want to get in there to patrol the streets, like a community organization or something. They're not going to know the laws. They're going to mess up everybody's due process when it comes to from arrest, the way things are handled, and
really, what's the
everything
difference
else.
of police?
And it's going to that's going to be chaos. It's going to be chaos in itself.
Right.
And that's a very dangerous ground to go down. Dangerous road to go down, because that's going to lead to civil unrest and everything else and anarchy, pretty much.
Yeah.
Because everything, change this, change that, but okay, well we're still civilized. We got these laws that we got to follow. We got these laws that we got to abide, and the only enforcement we got is the police department. And you want pretty much a neighborhood watch organization doing stuff, and they're not going to have the training.
Nope.
They're not going to have the knowledge of the laws. They're going to mess everything up. And then kind of like the guy in
like people
Florida, and that the whole George and whatnot, and, Martin and everything. So neighborhood watch, and everybody didn't like how that went down. Well, you're going to have that times 100,000.
Yeah.
Because lack of knowledge, without training, and the lack of knowledge is where mistakes happen and where people fuck up at.
And
So
some people never been put in those positions to where they have a gun in their hand, and they got somebody doing something wrong. Nobody's been. I'm sure that I've never been put in a position where I got a gun on me and this person just did me bogus. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I'd shoot somebody or not. I don't think I would, but honestly, when you get in that moment, learning how to analyze things like that and be like, okay, man, that's not a smart thing to do. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I would, your situation where the guy had a gun in your face, tried to pull the shit, if you had another gun, I would have done the same thing. It'd have been over with. But in a situation where somebody else doesn't have a gun and you do, like, okay, I'll take my situation. I got robbed at the store. So let's say, they got my shit, they start taking off. Would it be stupid for me to get out and take my, like, if I still had the gun on me or whatever, get out and shoot at them? Like, would that be stupid of me, or would that be justified? You know what I mean? It's like they just held me at gunpoint. Is it stupid for me to shoot at them too? Like,
as they're driving away,
no, they're running.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, I didn't think so either.
Because at that moment, your life is no longer in danger.
Mm-hmm. So it would just be me putting somebody else's life in danger at that point. But it's like, I don't know, man. I feel like some people definitely would get out and start shooting at them because it.
Well, those are the same. Well, those would be the same kind of people that end up in positions where they fuck up.
Because you were a driver too.
Everybody handles situations differently. Yeah. What you might do and what I might do is two different things. Based upon knowledge and training alone will change those things. Right. Or circumstances. You didn't see them coming, or if somebody else saw them coming, they can prepare for that. They catch you off guard. There's so many variables in every situation that you may act differently to than what somebody else would, given the exact same variables.
And I lack training. That's another variable. I don't have any kind of training like that. I might have a small temper. I got a lot of things there that there's a lot of, like you said, there is a lot. But the thing is like everybody can get their hands on a gun. You know what I mean? Anybody can get their hands on a gun. And nobody, and so it's the thing is, man, it's just nuts. We need the cops. We need laws. We need all that stuff. And anybody that says we don't, like, you know what I mean? What happens when they come to your house? You know what I mean? You got they just shoot you and take your shit. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't understand why people feel that way, because we need the cops. That's a good reason. Like a real good reason why I wanted to speak on a lot of stuff like this with you is because maybe somebody will, maybe it'll turn a light on somebody's head and be like, I shouldn't not like the cops. Maybe I should just,
man, that's just less hatred everybody maybe else has to carry around on their shoulders.
Maybe I should just tone it down a little bit.
I think everybody
that's all I'm hoping, is that somebody just hears this and they're like, that cop didn't. I was going 40 and a 25. Maybe maybe I deserved that. Something. That's all I hope, because the world is in a pretty crazy place right now. Like, and honestly, if riots could happen at one time, why can't they happen at any other time for some other reason? It doesn't even have to be like a black person getting killed by a white person. It could be something even stupider, you know? Like, not to say that that's stupid, but I mean, like let's just say.
Oh no, it's stupid.
Well,
it sucks that it happened, man. It's just a bad situation. It's just a bad situation.
I don't know, man. There's a lot to be said and not enough time, you know.
Right.
Not enough time, but it's kind of like you can't just teach everybody. They have to learn for themselves, but how do you?
Hey man, it just things happen, you know. You just got to keep people aware over time, man, and eventually the more people are aware of being more open-minded to just one position and bad situations or even big situations like that, you know. I feel like that's where change will start. Just with the people. It always starts with the people. Half
the people that don't like the cops are doing bad shit. That's the way I look at it. Half the people that don't like the cops would get caught up by the cops if you know they came around. So that's just, you know, my take on it. Like, I don't have no problem with the cops. Never did. You know, obviously I smoke weed, you know, and I illegally in my car. Like, technically you're not supposed to. I don't really care, but you know, if I got pulled over and my shit got took, I would completely understand. I wouldn't even be mad because I'm just like, yeah. Just go buy some more anyway. but so yeah, it was good having you on, man. Getting all this stuff out, and hopefully shed a little bit of light on the other side of things that people don't really get to see, you know. And you know, that's all I wanted. That's all I wanted. So,
yeah, man. Nice chatting, man.
You too.
For sure.
I enjoyed myself.
Absolutely. We should definitely have you on again.
I'm all for it.
Yeah, cool. Definitely when we have a little bit more time, for sure. Cause
I feel like
restricted a little bit.
Yeah, man. Well, if you're gonna do these guest podcasts more consistently, so
yeah. So yeah, I would be down.